Dr. Lynn Caldwell was about to close the office when she saw a young woman hurrying down the hall toward her. Her appearance left much to be desired, but she was pregnant. Lynn Caldwell turned around. It was a private and very expensive clinic, and they didn't really welcome visitors like that. Besides, Frederica was working in the waiting room today. She and Lynn had very serious disagreements. "Hello, hold on please, don't close your office." The girl came over and stared helplessly at Lynn. "You have to help me." "Come in, but hurry up." Lynn had already had so many conflicts with the head doctor because of her helpfulness. Now she knew that Frederica was going to rat to Dr. Alexander Rich, and Lynn would be reprimanded again. Even though Alexander promises to fire her every time, given that Lynn is an excellent doctor, threats are still just threats. "Excuse me, miss. Do you even realize that this is a private clinic and you have to pay for every visit?" "Yes, but I've been here before, and I do not know anything else in this city." The girl suddenly cried. "Help me, please. Help me get rid of this baby." "Are you crazy? What is your gestational period?" "I have no idea. I don't know, and I don't even want to know." "Well, dear, let me do the examination." The girl obediently let the doctor examine her, but she cried quietly the whole time. Dr. Lynn Caldwell turned to monitor her. "Here, look at this." The girl turned, and the little baby who was there suddenly stretched out an arm forward. "Oh. Do you realize the situation now?" The girl sobbed again. "But I don't know what to do, really. The man I loved, whom I trusted, just threw me out on the street. And actually, I was just released from jail yesterday." "What?" Lynn couldn't believe she was looking at an ex-convict. She couldn't believe those clear blue eyes belonged to a criminal. There was a knock on the door. Frederica peeked in curiosity and asked, "Lynn Caldwell, is everything all right? Because we saw this monster walk into your office." "Frederica, it's not a monster. It's a human being. One more thing. When you knock on the door, you have to wait until you are allowed to enter the office before you walk in." Frederica looked greedily at everything inside. Apparently, she had seen everything she wanted to see, and she smirked and then shut the door. The girl looked at Lynn fearfully. "You're going to get in trouble because of me, aren't you?" Lynn Caldwell stood up. "Am I right in assuming you have nowhere to go?" "No, absolutely nowhere." "Come on, let's go to my place." She didn't know how that decision had occurred to her. Since Andrea had been gone 10 years ago, she had never invited anyone into her house. She was afraid of breaking that fragile connection to the past. Either she felt sorry for the girl, or she was finally accepting the loss of her daughter, but Lynn decided to help this scared girl. "Come on." The girl timidly stepped into the apartment. "Don't be afraid, I live alone. What is your name?" "Andrea." Lynn coughed. "Could you say it again?" "Andrea." Lynn pulled herself together. It was as if Lynn sensed that she couldn't just leave this girl in trouble. "Let's make it like this. You go take a shower, you really need it now, and I will bring some clean clothes, and then you and I will have dinner and you will tell me everything." "Okay." Andrea was in the bathroom for almost an hour. Lynn thought the girl had just fallen asleep there and was about to knock on the bathroom door, but Andrea came out herself. She smiled embarrassedly. "I'm sorry, it's been so long since I've bathed in warm water. I hope you didn't bathe in very hot water. You might feel unwell because of too hot water." "No, of course not." "Well, take a seat. Dinner must be cold already." Lynn tried not to look at Andrea, who was wearing her daughter's bathrobe. She had given away a lot of her daughter's clothes and thrown some away, but there was still some left in the wardrobe. Andrea ate very quickly. Obviously, she was very hungry. "Please don't eat so fast. You'll feel sick." Andrea pushed away her plate a little. "Yes, I understand." "Andrea, can you tell me what happened to you?" The girl sighed. Tears like big peas flowed from her eyes again. "A year ago, I met Noel. He was very nice. Our love was so beautiful. I believed him in everything and completely trusted him. We met not here, but in my hometown. Noel was visiting for business. He persuaded me to go with him and promised me that as soon as we got here, he would get married right away. At first, it was like a fairy tale. You have no idea how beautiful love can be. The fairy tale ended when Noel introduced me to his mother. She immediately asked him, 'Are you going to marry her?' She asked if I wasn't there at all, as if I were nothing, and it was okay to talk like that in front of me. Noel asked her to be more polite. She immediately apologized to me, but I was well aware that this was only the tip of the iceberg. It turned out that before Noel came to our town, he had a girlfriend. She was going to marry him, but Noel didn't know about that. Both that girl and his mother had decided to get rid of me at any cost. I tried not to leave the house at all when Noel was away, but Mrs. Abigail Stafford could come whenever she wanted. And then one day, she invited me over to her place. I really didn't want to go, especially without Noel, but he was the one who insisted. You should go. Talk to my mother without me, and I hope you'll finally find some common ground. What was I supposed to do? I decided to go. Lynn was already realizing that the girl was most likely deceived, but she could not understand how. That evening, Mrs. Abigail Stafford had many guests. Suddenly, the music stopped, and a pale woman told that a very expensive necklace had been stolen. I saw the woman take it off at the beginning of the party. I even helped her because something had broken and the necklace had fallen off her neck. Now she was claiming it had been stolen. Everyone, as if on cue, turned to me. At this moment, I realized that the ground for suspicion had been prepared. I was taken to the police right from the party. No one believed me. No one. And I realized who put the necklace in my purse. You know, the only person who didn't believe that I stole the necklace was the owner of the necklace. Noel never showed up. I began to realize that he believed his mother. Then he came. I listened about how I had morally trampled him, that it was a tremendous shame for him and his mother, and that he didn't understand why I did that. I tried to change his mind. I tried to tell him about the pregnancy, but he wouldn't listen. He didn't want to listen. He just left me there, knowing I was going to jail. If it wasn't for that woman, the owner of the necklace, things would have been even worse. Although now I don't understand what I'm supposed to do now. Don't you have anyone in your hometown? I do. My older sister and her family, but she always wanted me to disappear. We inherited the apartment from our parents, one for both of us, but she has 2 kids. I see. And then what happened? They took me to the police station. The woman came there and said she had no claims against me. They gave her something to sign and she left. And then Mrs. Abigail Stafford showed up. I know for sure I saw that she was paying a police officer, and he said he'd keep me in jail as long as necessary. How long were you there? 5 months. I didn't think I could survive. And when they let me out, she was waiting for me. She told me that Noel was getting married in 2 days, and that if I tried to get in his way, she would make sure I went to jail for the rest of my life. You know, he didn't care about me for 5 months, and now he's getting married. I don't want to go there anymore. I don't want anything to remind me of him. Lynn put the girl to sleep, and she recalled that she had a friend who paid her a lot of attention, and he worked in the jail. She decided to invite him for coffee tomorrow after work and ask him if he knew anything. But she did not get any chance to work. As soon as she crossed the threshold of the clinic, Frederica rushed up to her. Lynn Caldwell, the head doctor is waiting for you. The woman sighed and went to his office. He yelled for about 5 minutes and then said, I'm tired of you. You're fired. Go work at a charity center. That's where you can treat the homeless and prisoners. She silently turned around and walked out. Strangely enough, she was not worried at all. Lynn. She turned around. Daniel, you wouldn't believe it, but I was going to call you. Yeah, really, I don't believe it. So what's up? Daniel, why don't we go to a cafe? I got fired from my job anyway, so I have a lot of free time now. He looked at her in surprise. During 8 long years, she had never accepted his invitation to go to a cafe, and now she invited him herself. Daniel, do you still work in jail? No, I quit a week ago. I can't work there anymore. The jail used to be a normal jail. Everything was clear. There's the criminals and there's the security. Now it's all about the money. They put in jail whoever they want, and they release whoever they want as well. I can't do that anymore. He waved his hand. Daniel, listen to me. Maybe you can help me. He listened carefully, occasionally nodding his head. Then he asked, What do you need all this for? The pregnant girl is at my house right now. She's afraid to go outside. Also, she decided to get rid of the baby, and I got fired today because I examined her for free yesterday. Daniel drummed his fingers on the table. Everyone here knows about this story. Everybody was really sorry for the girl, so it was decided to behave humanely toward her. So that's how it is. Daniel, help me if you can. Well, at least tell me about it and I'll try to talk to this Noel. No way! Don't even think about messing with his mother. She is a real bastard. Lynn, I'll try to help. Maybe you'd agree to go with me to my country house, or to the cinema, or anywhere else. Lynn smiled slightly. Are you blackmailing me? Daniel waved his hand. Maybe. Honestly, I'm 40. I'm in the prime of my life, but I can't look at other women. I can't stop thinking about you. Lynn looked at him more closely. Actually, Daniel was a very handsome man and so calm. She hadn't noticed it before, probably because she was lost in her grief. Alright, Daniel, I'll think about it. But what are you going to do? My friend works as a driver for that bitch Abigail, and he's been dreaming of quitting for a long time, so I'm going to give him that opportunity. Lynn came home quietly and immediately heard singing from the kitchen. She smiled. Andrea was washing the dishes and singing loudly. When she saw the woman, she went silent. Oh, sorry, You're really good at this. I took a vocal class when I was a kid. Why did you come so early? Lynn waved her hand and Andrea clasped her hands to her chest. You were fired because of me? It's not a big deal. We'll get through this. Let's have some tea. It was evening. There were almost no visitors in the clinic. There were only a few people left and they were about to leave. Frederica was getting ready to close the clinic for today. Suddenly, the door opened with a rattle and a young man literally burst into the lobby. Excuse me, miss, where's the head doctor? Frederica looked at him frightened. Down the corridor to the end, but you can't go to him. I can't? And what can I do here? Where's the girl who came here yesterday for help? What girl? About 100 girls visit our clinic every day. What's going on here? Dr. Alexander Rich walked down the hall toward them. The man turned to him. Oh, head doctor, can you tell me, please, where did the girl who came to you yesterday for help go? The one who had just been released from jail. Frederica and Alexander looked at each other. I don't have to answer you. There is no such girl. This is a private clinic, and there's no place for ex-convicts here. Just like there's no place for doctors who dare to help an ordinary person. Excuse me, sir. Who are you to interrogate me? Mr. Stafford. Noel Stafford. I hope my name means something to you. Alexander Rich got a little dazed. Well, this happened. This was the first time he'd ever seen the clinic's chief sponsor in person. Oh, I'm sorry. Dr. Alexander Rich, now let me ask you. I need the address of the woman, the doctor you fired. Frederica. Alexander Rich, my computer's already turned off. He looked at her angrily, and the girl hurriedly started to turn on the computer. As Noel walked swiftly toward the exit, the head doctor came running beside him. Misunderstanding. There's been an embarrassing misunderstanding. Please tell Lynn Caldwell we're waiting for her tomorrow. Andrea sat in front of the TV thinking about what she was going to do now. She knew she couldn't take advantage of Lynn's kindness all the time. It wasn't right. But where could a pregnant girl go? Andrea. She turned around. Andrea, don't worry. There's someone here to see you. She began to get up slowly when she saw Noel. The conversation was long, too long. Lynn was sitting in the kitchen, but not alone. Daniel came in after Noel. I knew he was already here. He just had to listen to the whole story in traffic. I know where your house is, but I didn't know your address. 2 hours later, Noel came out. Excuse me, can Andrea stay with you one more night? There's something I have to finish up right away. And tomorrow, we'll go to her hometown. 2 hours later, Noel came out. Sure, how is she? He looked at her. Asleep. Thank you. I've always had no respect for fools. But it turns out I'm the biggest fool ever. By the way, they asked you to go back to the clinic, back to work. Lynn smiled. I'm not going back now. I'm going to Daniel's country house. I need some rest.